Nishal Ferdinando. Nishal Ferdinando, CEO of JAT Holdings. And with me in the panel, we have Ilian Gunawardana, the founder and the managing director of JAT Holdings, and Rizna Dilshad, the finance director of JAT Holdings. Once I make the presentation, you could, or while making the presentation also, you can write any questions on the Q&A section. It is not the chat, but the Q&A section in the call. And after that, also you could raise your hands and we will give access for you to ask any questions as well after the presentation. So to start off a bit of the group overview, right? So JAT Holdings PLC is the listed company, and under JAT Holdings PLC, we have JAT Exports DMCC, which is the company in Dubai, which acts as an indenting agent for all our foreign markets. So if you see the color green and pink, that is where we do wood coatings and furnishing. So JAT Exports DMCC also owns JAT Australia Private Limited, which is the ultimate parent of Seaform Perth Private Limited. Seaform Perth Private Limited is our showroom that we have in Perth, and our furniture business, the kitchen furniture business that we do with Seaform Germany in Perth, Australia. Then JAT Exports DMCC also owns Seaform Bangladesh Private Limited. That is again the showroom in Dhaka, and as well as the furniture, the kitchen, predominantly the kitchen, wardrobe and vanity business that we have with Seaform Germany. The ultimate parent, JAT Exports DMCC, is also the ultimate parent of Asia Coatings Private Limited, which is our manufacturing plant and our fully fledged operation in Bangladesh. So that also comes under JAT Exports DMCC. And JAT Paints Africa, JAT Exports DMCC owns 60%, whereas another partner owns 40% of the venture that is set up to do wood coatings in Kenya. Then we have JAT Global Private Limited, which is our Indian operations, which is predominantly wood coating. JAT Exports Private Limited is our arm in Sri Lanka, where we export all products manufactured in Sri Lanka to any foreign market. That is the JAT Exports Private Limited, where we do wood coatings and paints. Then we have Brushmaster Private Limited, which we own about 70 to 80%, which is the brush making company of JAT Holdings, where they exclusively sell all products to JAT Holdings, which acts as the trader or the selling arm of this company. We also have a company called Worldwide Resins and Chemical, which is a medium scale company selling in all paint related chemicals into the market. So these are the companies under JAT Holdings PLC. And if you take the PLC, predominantly it's again the wood coatings that we do, which has about 80% of our revenue there. And also we do furnishing, where we represent Herman Miller, Seaform, Opain, and all these brands, as well as our decorative paint ranges, including the brushes that comes under JAT Holdings PLC. The macro factors in Sri Lanka, as you all know, the inflation rate is coming down. PLR again is coming down. The GDP growth is going up, and the exchange rate is coming down we are referring to the 9 months and the trend for this year. So if you look at the outlook, again, lower inflation and stable interest rates, it creates an environment for conducive growth in the paint and wood coating industry. It also improvises a more stable, steady demand for the products, along with increased consumer spending on home improvement projects. So after a considerable time, we are seeing that improvement in the spending ability of the domestic customer. Also, the rising aluminium prices worldwide. If you look at the London Metal Exchange, the aluminium prices are increasing rapidly. That also is beneficial for us because the aluminium industry is also a competitor in the wood industry, especially when it comes to windows and doors in that segment. So this as the next best effective alternative for wood, which may likely boost demand for wood products in the medium to long term. Some of the key drivers in the Sri Lankan market for our water-based wood coating, Sri Lanka being a tropical climate with high humidity and sunshine drives the demand for water-based wood coatings. And we see that the weather patterns in the country also has settled a lot. And these months after maybe November, December, as also we have headed to a dry season. And compared to the previous year, the weather patterns have also been much better and more conducive for our paint industry. Then increasing awareness of high quality and eco-friendly coatings like water-based products drive the demand. So there is a push even from the consumer authorities, right, to push for high quality eco-friendly coatings in the market at present. And also they are regulating certain policies on environmental standards and eco-friendly low VOC coatings. So this is a drive that is being pushed at the moment, which we feel would be a driving factor in the paint industry in Sri Lanka. Overall, again, if you see the construction sector contribution to the GDP in blue in your right side of the slide, the graph, then the GDP growth and the construction sector GDP growth. So if you look at the construction sector GDP growth in the black line, it is actually surpassing the GDP growth as well. So there is a huge surge in the construction activities at the moment. And while the AWPLR on the left-hand side of your screen, that is coming down, the PMI construction index is going up. So obviously April, it goes down being the new year. But beyond that, you see the pattern moving upward. So this is a good trend in the industry at the moment. Bangladesh being our next biggest market, I would touch upon the macroeconomic factors there as well. So as you know, last year, Bangladesh contributed 35% of our top line. So interest rates, you see as stable here. The exchange rates also now are fairly stable. Foreign reserves are coming down. Inflation is slightly going up. But though they show it at these levels, the ground situation is slightly different, right? Because what they publish and actually when you try to lend and borrow, when you try to borrow, the interest rates are slightly different, and also the exchange rates do not depict what is being published. So though it's showing like this, the political environment is not yet stabilized. Therefore, there would be a certain amount of volatility which is expected. It is much better than the second quarter of this year, right? The third quarter has been much better and much more stable, but we are expecting a certain sort of a roller coaster ride in Bangladesh. The key drivers for wood coatings, which is the only segment that we do in Bangladesh, is yet amidst all of this, there is a huge drive for urbanization in Bangladesh, and the growing demand for domestic furniture is yet propelling the industry, and the PU-based wood coatings which JAT has introduced. Therefore, the demand is being pushed through this driver. Some of the financial highlights. The revenue in quarter 3 was 3,035 million, which is a 1% growth from the previous year quarter. And if you take the year to date, there is a 4% decline, mainly due to the revenue from Bangladesh. But there also, it's more than the lack of revenue from Bangladesh, the conversion. If you see the taka in the previous year was at around 3.3, 3.4 for a rupee, which is now at 2.5. So that is one of the main reasons that your year to date, there's a 4% drop in the revenue. If you look at earnings before interest and tax, the quarter on quarter from the previous year has grown by 57%, and year on year, the cumulative has grown by 23%. Q3 shows a PBT of 430 million. Again, a 28% growth on quarter comparative to the previous year. Year on year, there's 11% growth. PAT, there's a 80 on Q3, there's a 81% growth because of the taxation benefits that we have in Q3. And if you take year to date, there is a 74% growth compared to previous year. If you look at the local sales, though the total sales has depreciated or gone down by 4%, the local sales has increased by 10%. The GP margin has increased by 5% due to our backward vertical integrated projects, such as the binder plant and the alkyd plant, and also the decision that we have taken to directly distribute in the Colombo city limits, or rather, sorry, the Colombo district. The profit after tax margin has also increased by 6% compared to last year. If you take Q2 to Q3, because in Sri Lanka, Q3 is a bit of a seasonal effect on paints with December, Christmas coming in, but that doesn't affect Bangladesh. So the good news from Bangladesh is from Q2 to Q3, which is not seasonal at all, there is a growth of 47%, right, in revenue in terms of the increase from Q2 to Q3. If you compare the corresponding quarter in the previous year, Q3 in 2024 as against Q3 in 2025, there is a 17% growth on the revenue in terms of taka, right? So from a taka point of view, we have increased it by 17%, which again is the signs that the market is on a recovery at the moment. Yes, there could be a roller coaster ride in the future, but wherever the opportunity is there in the high, JAT would take the advantage in increasing the revenues in Bangladesh. Overall, if you look at the financial highlights, again, we have 7.5 billion worth of revenue, out of which 2 billion comes from foreign operations and 5.5 from the Sri Lankan operation. So we witnessed a 19% revenue drop in LKR for Bangladesh in comparison to the previous year. Again, due to the exchange rate mainly, but if you look at the year-on-year turnover in terms of taka, it's only a 6% drop. So we have negated the drop that was there in Q2 due to the political unrest in Q3, and we have caught up to a certain extent. If you look at the GP margin, you would see a 29% GP margin in 2023, which we have managed to increase it to 34%, right? And if you again, going back to the foreign operations, another reason for the foreign operations to drop, Maldives is also having a currency crisis there. So our year-on-year revenue has dropped 27% in Maldives, but we see in 2025 that being corrected in that part of it. And also, if you look at the admin expenses are almost the same as last year due to proper controls and inventory management, etc. If also there is a 44 million loss when it comes to joint venture, that is mainly JAT Africa and Seaform Perth. So something that I would want to mention is Seaform Perth is our business where we do kitchen sales. So there is a gap or a time difference in recognizing revenue. At the moment, we have about 1.5 million worth of 1.5 million Aussie dollars worth of revenue, out of which 90% is yet to be invoiced. So a majority of the loss came from there, which would be recovered in Q4 and the first quarter of 2026. And then JAT Africa also is the beginning. So we had some capital expenditure and some sales promotional expenditure in order to gain certain amount of market share. And at the moment, we are making slow but steady progress in Africa. And we have secured about 15 major industrial customers, which we feel that would yield a higher turnover in the next couple of quarters. Also, due to the capitalization of the acrylic binder plant, there is a deferred tax asset that has been created, and that's why the taxation shows a positive figure. Sorry, if I can go back. Sorry, and one point also to this thing, the profit PAT margin has increased from 7% to 13%. So the GP margin has increased, the operating profit margin has increased from 11 to 14%, and the PAT margin has increased from 7 to 13%. If you look at the balance sheet, mainly if you look at the net asset value per share, it has increased to about 19.38 from the previous year. Earnings per share also has increased to 2.84 from about 1.6 from the previous year. Yes, the gearing has increased, and if you look at our current, if you look at the interest-bearing loans and borrowings, there is an increase of about 1.3 billion, mainly due to the funding of the binder plant. This project was about 1.6 billion, and majority was funded through the self-generated funds of the company and the rest from the loans. So due to this, for working capital and for the loans, that is that gap that you see, and that's the reason that the gearing has gone up. But this project, the payback is about 4 to 5 years. So we are expecting that to yield a lot of potential in increasing our GP margin, and which you can see in this quarter as well. If you look at the market cap, it has increased to over 12 billion in 31st December, and the return on capital employed is almost the same. Price per book PBV is 1.29 times, and a PER ratio of 8.8 as at 31st December. Both PBV and PER is as at 31st December. The strategic drivers for this quarter has mainly been, if you take new markets and products, like I said previously, we have secured orders worth Aussie dollars 1.4 million through the Perth showroom for Seaform kitchens, wardrobes and vanities. Then the first franchise JAT Tech showroom is to be opened in Cambodia. I think the opening ceremony is happening next week, but everything, the planning and the concept and everything was done during Q3. Our initial order was shipped to Vietnam, where we have sent the order to one of the biggest OEMs in the country. So we are very positive about Vietnam as well. And we just appointed a distributor and confirmed a very small order to Nepal, right? So another part of us being us JAT expanding our footprint across South Asia. If you look at the core products, we launched Cortex in Bangladesh. Cortex is the low-cost solvent-based wood coating that we were going to launch to the retail market in Bangladesh. That was launched, I think, in September, October last year. Then we also launched a product called JChem One Coat, which was launched in Moratumulla, which is the hub of the furniture industry in Sri Lanka. I will touch upon that in the slides to come. From the core products, GP improvement through roller manufacturing. So though we started manufacturing rollers, we had a fair amount of stocks. So we didn't see the GP increasing in the roller category or the brush category. But now, due to the roller manufacturing in full force, we see a GP improvement for the Harris roller in this quarter. Also, there is a significant GP improvement through our binder plant project. In terms of investment, we invested in the JAT Lifestyle Studio in the heart of Colombo, which offers all the furnishing solutions that JAT is offering, including Seaform from Germany, Seaform kitchens, wardrobes and vanities from Germany, Herman Miller chairs from US, Opane from China, and various other furnishing products. Also, we invested in a UV curing oven in order to develop UV coatings in-house. So the machine has been ordered, and we are excited about this project because that is the only coating that we do not manufacture in-house at the moment. So the investment has already been made. The formulas and all have been developed by our R&D team. So it's a matter of time since we put this together and we develop our own UV coatings. In terms of process excellence, we revamped the JAT loyalty program to incorporate a lot of features for the painters who have been our most valuable asset. Then the early adoption of FRS S1 and S2 and adoption of lean initiatives. So if you see the administration overhead, one reason that is flat or almost negligibly increased is due to the lean initiatives that we have taken in order to improve our processes. Yeah, if we look at the sector-wise performance, you could see in blue is our wood coatings. We have done 3.8 billion this year, up from 3.7 billion. And if you see the comparative 9 months for the last 4 years, you can see a steady increase of the wood coating segment. In purple, you have the decorative from 572 to 839. That was the peak during that year. But then after that, we had to introduce a low-cost product. So though the volumes increased, the value came down to 719, and it's back up at 756 million. If we look at the brush segment, from 253 million last year, we have increased it by about 30% to 321 million this year. Projects in the furnishing division, from 128 million last year, you can see a resurgence of the project sector at 395. Exports or foreign paint-related operations is down from 2.8 to 2 billion. And like I explained previously, majority of it is due to the currency appreciation of the rupee against the taka. But there is a certain percentage drop due to the Bangladesh and Maldives economic crises as well. If we look at the wood coating segment, we have Sealac, Masters, Boma, and JChem as well in this segment. If we look at this segment, over the past 4 years, it has been a consistent upward trend. And that, I would say, being the market leader with over 56% market share, to keep on increasing it, right, is very credible, shows that we are capturing market share even further, being the market leader. The wood coatings category has experienced overall a 2% growth. Sealac bringing in 5%, a 5% increase in Boma, and Masters showing a strong 8% increase. The one that actually we lost a certain amount of compared to last year, a 12% decline in the JChem range, and that is mainly due to the thinner sales, which is a very low price conscious product. So there's a lot of home industries that manufacture thinner, and small scale vendors that manufacture thinner. So in order to counter this is why we launched the JChem One Coat. So JChem One Coat is the base coat and the top coat where the thinner is inbuilt into the product. So that way it is a more faster application process, and from a square foot perspective, it is cheaper to apply it. So that way we are countering the thinner market of the small time players by offering a product which has the thinner inbuilt into it. So we are excited about this product launch, which happened somewhere around November. And hopefully we would see some positive results in the next quarter. The loyalty program, like I said, has been revamped, and the points that we have been giving the painters, we have tripled it in the last quarter. And this actually fueled a huge amount of growth in Q3 for us. We have incorporated an insurance scheme for the painters, a medical scheme for the painters, and an educational scheme for the children of the painters who actually passed the year 5 scholarship exam and also the A-level exam. The wood coating binder, which is manufactured in-house, has been incorporated into all the products and has been well accepted in the market. So this has now been in the market for the past 6 to 7 months, and there has been a very high level of acceptance. So I can now safely say that we are probably the only South Asian company to manufacture European quality binders in this region. And the acrylic binder manufacturing plant, which is in Horana, it operates at 60% of the capacity, right? So there is a lot more room to grow, right, in this segment where we can utilize the balance 40% to expand the local market and also to look at wood coatings in the foreign markets as well. If you look at the decorative, segment, sorry, 1 minute. Sorry, there was a small technical issue. To get back to you.
Vishal, till we sort that, did you want to take a small question or two? Or is it
no, I think we are okay. We are back on it. Yes. So I think the decorative segment has been giving us a little bit of trouble anyway. So in the slideshow also, I think it's giving, but okay, I think it's moving ahead, but I will address that. No, you keep it. So in the decorative segment, we have introduced walls, which is a low cost product into the market. And we have also introduced the colors from our franchise outlets. So JAT has 25 franchise outlets, which we launched Colors by JAT about a month back. So this has had from the franchise outlet, this has propelled the franchise outlet sales to increase by about 30%. And also we have seen roughly about a 15% increase in the online sales. And previously, if you see in our decorative segment, where there was a slight degrowth from previous year, we have readjusted our prices. From R&D, we have changed the formulas, but yet kept the same quality. And we are the only company to give a product with an 8-year guarantee, right? We have kept all of that, but we have managed to reduce the price and pass it on to the market. So therefore, you see resurgence in the white in our decorative segment, so which we are quite confident that we can increase it further in the fourth quarter. Yeah. If you take the brush segment, there's a year-on-year growth of 27%. We are number 1 in the market with about 31% market share collectively from the Harris brand and the Brushmaster brand. The Brushmaster brand is purely targeted for the wood coating segment, and the Harris brand is targeted for the decorative segment. We have held regular workshops with Okla, the principal of Harris, and we are the only specialized brush manufacturing company with a parent company overseas and with an international standing in the country, right? So we have brought in that expertise, and we are helping the painters also to actually to increase their efficiency and the quality of their paint. We also are looking at launching various painting tools, right? Tools for this industry. Then the GP of the brush category, like I said, was increased by 5% due to roller manufacturing. And the Harris brand has had a growth of 22%, while Brushmaster has witnessed a growth of 32%. In terms of furnishing, again, the brands are Seaform, that is the German bespoke kitchens, wardrobes, vanities. Herman Miller is our furniture range from USA. Kanoff ceilings, again, formerly Armstrong, again from US. Kanoff is from Germany. It's the leader in the false ceilings or the decorative ceilings in the world. Lifewood is a timber flooring manufacturer. Open is the biggest, arguably the biggest kitchen manufacturer in the world from China. So these are some of the brands. Here we have seen a year-on-year growth of 210%, right? With the removal of import restrictions and also the correction in the market. JAT Lifestyle Studio, which was opened, I think it's setting a new benchmark for contemporary living. And there is a large amount of footfall in this location and a lot of brand awareness being created. Our newest member in this furnishing range is Open. We have confirmed orders to the value of 225 million. And we have launched a new business line with Open, which are mainly the doors, right? So doors have been a troublesome area in the project market in Sri Lanka. So JAT has been able to offer a solution. I think at the moment we are quoting for projects that have, total number of around 7,000 doors at the moment. We also sold a record number of Herman Miller chairs in the month of October. I think we sold about 80 chairs, which also contributed to the growth of 210%. If we look at foreign revenue, overall, if we see financial year 2025, Bangladesh, there's a dip. Again, I explained that previously. Maldives, there's a dip. But the good news is both these markets are coming back to normal, right? Or it's normalizing. In the other markets, there's a dip again, mainly due to a change in the strategy in India, which we are relooking at, and hopefully we would have a good strategy in place in India in the year 2026, or rather the financial year 2026. So in terms of Bangladesh, this is a market that we have been following in our previous three, or we have been updating in our previous three investor forums. So what you see initially in your far left corner is the factors disclosed previously when the crisis hit, the update that we provided in Q2, and the newest update in Q3, right? So one point that we said was ACL being a manufacturer of wood coating products and key materials like alkyd resin in Bangladesh will give JAT a significant advantage over competitors who rely on imports. So like I mentioned in Q2, we have had no issue in importing any of our products because we are a manufacturer not only of wood coatings but of raw materials as well in terms of alkyd resin. So I think we have taken advantage of that. And then again, operating in the domestic market will minimize the impact of exchange rate fluctuation due to depreciation of BDT, since it would be passed on to the domestic customer. So in Q2, it was not passed on. In Q3 also, we did not pass it on to the customer, but through our R&D, we value engineered and we improved our GP by yet keeping the same price to the end consumer. So that was something that actually made us increase our sales in Q3 in Bangladesh. Then this is, I think, a strong point where I said that ACL will be able to capture the market share from competitors. And JAT's main competitors operate only in Bangladesh, I mean, as standalone companies. So the market, therefore, will not be able to leverage from the positives of any foreign market. So this is a mix. So I said in Q2, it's too early for us to sort of give a indicator. But Q3, when Berger published their results, if you look at Berger, their growth from 2023 corresponding period to 2024 is only 11%, whereas JAT has grown by 17%. So Berger is the market leader in decoratives, while being maybe number 3 in the wood coating segment. So we have had overall, this is the overall growth. This is not the growth in wood coatings, but Berger's total published revenue. So we have grown 6% more than them in these 9 months, which I would say is a testament of how strong we are in Bangladesh in terms of wood coatings. Then the Bangladesh declining disposable income. We said about a low-cost wood coating product range will enable JAT to compete with low-cost brands. We were planning to launch it in Q2. We launched it in Q3. And there is about a 7% of the total sale has come from this product. We plan on increasing it to about 12 to 15% in the future. Increased levels of securities for borrowings is something that we mentioned. In Q2, increase of borrowings is 45% compared to semester 1, and now it's 48%. So basically, we are keeping it in check while we are operating in this market. Then having a state-of-the-art R&D facility in Sri Lanka enables JAT to produce value for money solutions to the Bangladesh market depending on the situation. So the cumulative savings from the Alkyd plant in Q2 was 18 million, but in Q3, it has gone to 35 million. And the next point remains the same update as Q2. If you take the expectations, what can you expect in Q4 from JAT? So in Sri Lanka, mainly it is capitalized on a stable, from the Sri Lankan point of view, the economy is improving, right? There would be a stable political environment. Sorry. Yeah. So in Sri Lanka, basically, we would be capitalizing on a stable political environment and the economy improving, right? So from wood coatings, we plan on driving to penetrate and further increase the market share through strong thematic advertising campaigns, increase of loyalty points, and dealer promotions. Further, the GP improvement through utilization of acrylic binder manufacturing plant with the upcoming season. So as you know, the fourth quarter is from a paint point of view in Sri Lanka is the best quarter. So with the GP improvement of 5%, we hope to increase it further and increase the sales further. From terms of emulsion, we are just about to launch the waterproofing range from our emulsion paint category, so which we are quite excited about and would increase our portfolio further. And from brushes, like I said, we are launching the painting accessories into the market. From a furnishing point of view, we hope on maximizing the invoicing from already secured projects, right, which we have about 500 to 600 million in the pipeline. And we want to maximize the retail sales through our lifestyle studio. In terms of Bangladesh, the market penetration through Cortex is something that we are looking forward to in this quarter and capitalize on the stabilizing economy as per the trend that is going forward. So with Q3 being better than Q2, we are positive that Q4 would be better than Q3 in Bangladesh. And from a Maldives point of view, again, there would be a market revival because though Maldives is a smaller market for us, the GP is quite high in this market. So that's why it's an important market for us. Right. So in terms of the Q4, this is an interesting slide. If we compare Q4 24, we have done a revenue of 3.4 billion, right, in the quarter 4. So we are projecting roughly around 3.6 billion for this year, right? That is 840 million from Bangladesh and 2.8 billion from the local revenue. So if we take our Q4 in financial year 24, the profit after tax, this was 447 million. Usually, from a profitability point of view, in the last 4 to 5 years, 42% of our profit came in Q4. So if we take the previous year Q4, 447 million, with the revenue increase and with a GP of about 40%, right, we would get that, say, the increase of 200 million and a 40% GP, additional 78 million would be added to the bottom line. Then from the increase of the GP, because we are increasing it by 5%, for the total revenue, we would add another 195 compared to previous year. So the 78 million is compared to the previous quarter 4 of 2024 would be added through the increase of revenue of 200 million. From the increase of GP of 5%, there would be another 195 million that would be added in Q4. Then the overheads, there would be additional 35 million, which is forecasted. And from finance costs, there would be additional 19 million, which would give us approximate profit of about 667 million in Q4 on a very conservative side. So with us showing a 1 billion profit in PAT in quarter 3, so what we are forecasting for quarter 4 is about 1668 on a very conservative basis, but it should be more because we are having a tax benefit as well. Previous year, we did not have this tax benefit. So the Q4 revenue trend is 36% of the annual revenue for the last 5 years. PAT, like I said, is 42% of the annual revenue in quarter 4. So quarter 4 is the best quarter, which we are quite excited this year. And we are looking forward in all of our plans coming into effect in this quarter. So this brings my presentation to an end. I will just check on the Q&A. And if anyone also wants to ask any questions, please feel free after this. Right. So I think the first question is, compared to quarter 3 last year, sales in both USD and not Indian rupees, actually in Taka, maybe have declined noticeably. Could you explain the key reasons behind this decline? If you are referring to Indian rupees, that is from, like I mentioned, from JAT Global, because we changed the strategy there, which is a very minute part of our total revenue. So India traditionally brings maybe less than 1% or 2% of our total revenue. So that's the reason if you're referring to Indian rupees. In terms of USD, the revenue mainly is from Maldives, that is coming through JAT DMCC, which has a drop. And again, like I said, from Bangladesh, there is a revenue decline in terms of Taka, right? So that is the reason. The next question is, could you provide insights into the competitive landscape in Bangladesh, Maldives, and India? Additionally, what are the market shares of key players in these regions? So in terms of Bangladesh, the market leader in the paint sector, which we are not present in the paint sector, we are only in the wood coating, is Berger, which has about 55 to 60% in the emulsion and overall paint segment. If you go one step down into the wood coating segment, which we are present, then in this, it would be we are the leader in the industrial wood coating segment with a market share of about 38%. But when you take as a total, right, with the retail segment and industrial both, we are number 2 with a market share of 20%. The leader is a company called Intertrade, which has a market share of about roughly around 32%, right? Mainly coming from the retail segment. Berger is at number 3 with maybe a market share of about 10% in Bangladesh. And then on top of that, there are a lot of small players in this segment, which I would say consist of about 20 brands in Bangladesh. If you take Maldives, again in the wood coating segment, we are either number 1 or number 2. It switches between AkzoNobel and us. I think at the moment we are number 1. For the last 2 years, I think we were number 1, but previously we moved to number 2. So I would say Akzo has about 35%. We have about 38% in this market in Maldives. So we are the main 2 players in the wood coating segment. There's another one foreign company which is a bit predominant. The name slips my mind, but that is the 3rd player in Maldives. In terms of India, actually we are very small. Actually, it's very negligible in terms of wood coating. So the biggest player is Asian Paints in the wood coating segment, and then it's Berger. And actually, we are occupying, I would say, 0.00001% maybe in India, which we plan on changing with a very effective strategy in the future. So that is something that we are looking forward to because India is a huge market, and if JAT can leverage from that market, I think we can really add a lot of value, right? In fact, I have met with a couple of main players in India and planning to have discussions on this as well. Yeah, the next one is what factors support the expectations that sales demand in Bangladesh will improve going forward? What are the key drivers behind this anticipated growth? So that's a good question. Well, the factors are basically politically, though there is no unrest now in that market. Earlier, there was a lot of unrest, and now I was in Bangladesh probably about a month back, right? There were a few, for the first time after about 3-4 months, there were a few government tenders that have been put forward too. So when government tenders are there, that means there is a little bit more stability in that market, right? And also there is a bit of a pent-up demand because in that last quarter 2, there was a lot of unrest and there was no business at all. So there would be a little bit of a growth from that pent-up demand as well. But like I said, this would be a sort of a roller coaster journey in the next year. Until there is an election in Bangladesh, I feel that this is a bit of a roller coaster which we need to ride. And we have shown that in Q3, there is a bit of a up in this curve, which JAT also has capitalized on this. So these are some of the things that we feel that there would be a certain amount of growth better than last year. But of course, there can be a fair amount of volatility as well. Then I think that same question, what are the key drivers behind this anticipated growth? Again, that is that main thing, and the urbanization. There is a fair amount of urbanization in Bangladesh. And if you look at the per capita paint usage in Bangladesh, it is almost 1/3 of Sri Lanka. So there is a huge amount of growth in the paint per capita usage of paint in this market with urbanization. So just to give another this thing, Europe is about 5 times more than Sri Lanka, and US is about 8 times more than Sri Lanka. So the more urbanization, I would say, would be one of the key drivers behind this anticipated growth. Yeah. The next question, how are the company's African operations performing in terms of product demand? While demand appears to be present, the JV reported a loss this quarter. Could you shed some light on this? Yes, I think I explained that during my presentation as well. So we have captured 15 industries in this. And the thing is, this market is like the same market we found maybe 20 years back when we went to Bangladesh. So to shift from that very primary form of wood coating to a higher wood coating, a higher quality or higher level of wood coating takes a bit of time. And once that is set, there is a sort of a huge shift in the market. So we have to be patient in that market. Why we experience a loss in this quarter is we did some promotions in that market in order to get the sales. And we are looking at having 5 Sri Lankan technicians trained by us in 5 of the leading factories in Kenya. In fact, next week I'll be in Kenya as well in order to explore and to see how we can improve this market. So there is a lot of potential in Kenya with this industry. And the best part is from Kenya, if we develop, East Africa has a lot of treaties, right? A lot of duty concessions and all of that with Uganda, Tanzania. There's another one country which slips my mind. So within that, Kenya is like the hub. So if we can grow Kenya, we are positive that we can grow the African market, which we will have to be a bit patient. But we see clear positive signs of growth. The next question. Who is the market leader in the brush segment in Sri Lanka? So the market leader is JAT with Harris and Brushmaster together. The second is Ravi Brushes. That is a brush done by Haley's, which has about maybe 22% in comparison to 32% that we have. Additionally, could you outline the market share distribution among key competitors? That's what I said. And I think the next you have Nippon and Multilac with about 10% market share each, and Benz and Kesselwatta with about 6 to 7% each in the brush segment. Next question. The company previously intended to sell excess manufacturing raw materials. What is the current status of this plan? Yeah, so I think you are referring to the binder, the excess binder that we produce. So while we are looking at selling the binder by itself, I think we are also looking at selling through this excess product, developing the wood coating, water-based wood coating itself and selling it as a finished product to this market, passing on the cost benefit of the binder into this product to penetrate this market. So even in India, this is something which we are looking at, right? So the excess demand will either be from selling of the excess or the capacity, utilization of the capacity of the binder as the binder itself or as a finished product. I feel, or when we have done our calculations, we feel doing the finished product is much more lucrative, and it's in a line with JAT being or trying to be a multinational in the region. So this is something that we are exploring.
And we can add to that, Nishal, maybe that we've already sampled to a few industries, about 3 industries in Europe are binders. We've done some sampling in the local market as well. And we've got all those test reports. So we're looking at selling the binder by itself as much as, like Nishal said, it's about adding more value and getting a higher margin by selling the finished product as a second range of second brand.
Yes, correct, Ilya. Thanks. Also, what is the seasonal quarter for Bangladesh? So the seasonal quarter is when Ramazan is. So depending, it changes a little bit. Now this year, I think it would be end of March. And then there's another festival, which I forget the name. But that is again, I think in somewhere around June. So this is the season in the season in Bangladesh. right? So that for this year, if you take, I would say it would be probably March of this year or April of this year to about June of this year. Can you mention, yeah, Rizna, I think you can take this question. Can you mention the depreciation allowance remaining for the acrylic plant, that is the binder plant for tax depreciation, and the deferred tax asset remaining to claim?
Yeah, the depreciation allowance on the binder plant is basically 80% of it is still remaining. We incurred around 1.6 billion. So the balance is there for the next few years carry forward. So the deferred tax asset, also the second part of the question, the deferred tax asset would continue for about next 2 years. And from there on, we will have to make the relevant provisions thereafter.
Thanks, Rizna. What are the net benefits the company gains from shifting to a direct distribution model instead of working with external distributors? Yeah, good question. So basically why we went to a direct distribution model in Colombo is majority of the big dealers are in Colombo, where we felt that we need to have a direct rapport with them and a direct connection. And also, if you take from a logistic point of view, it makes sense for us to distribute to them, right? And give them a better service in-house, right? Because we have our in-house fleet. So what we did was we used this in-house fleet in order to do that. And by that, we are saving around 5% on the Colombo direct distribution other than Moratu Mulla. So Moratu, which is a predominantly different type of market, is the only market within Colombo district that is operated through a distributor. The rest, I think, which gives us about about 18% or 20% of our total. Sorry, about 25% of our total revenue comes from the Colombo district itself. So I think that is some of the benefits that we gain is the margin of 5%. Plus, we have more connections with the big dealers, right? Where we are involved with them and we can give them a better service, right?
And cash flow also improves.
Yes. And also our cash flow, because we collect it before the time period of a distributor collecting it, correct? Next question, the company had mentioned plans to enter the color paint manufacturing sector with the induction of a tinting machine. What is the latest update on this initiative? So this is what I said. We have installed 25 tinting machines in our franchise outlets. I think we launched this in December, if I'm not mistaken, right? In December. And we can offer about 2,500 colors from these franchise outlets and as well as the JAT Tech centers that we have. So we are looking at that market from that angle, from that point of view only for the colorants. Then the next question is, are there still any import restrictions in Bangladesh that could impact operations? So again, there was never any import restrictions which affected us, right? To be honest, I don't know whether there's any further import restrictions in any other industries, but more than import restrictions, it was the fact that banks give dollars sparingly to finished good providers. But because we are a raw material provider, we did not have that problem throughout. Could you provide an update on the company's vehicle charging battery development project? Okay. So this is something that would come in next quarter. So I'm happy to sort of announce that we have got order for 1,000 chargers from BYD, which we are manufacturing at the moment through this venture that we have. And we have got 20 fast chargers to be installed. We have already done 10. And another 10 would be installed in the Kiel Super outlets, which we have got the order as well. And there's a few more inquiries, but this project would, I mean, it would come into the financials in the final quarter. Right, so we have the people who have invented the Vega car and all of that, the entire team is with us. So we are very confident on the technology that is being used. We have, I would say we are the first Sri Lankan company with a German tested EV charger, which has even been installed in Lucid and has done charging with Teslas and with all the top-notch electric vehicle cars, even in Saudi. So we are very excited about this, but it's a total different segment, which we are treating it separately. And I will update you in the fourth quarter on that.
And the good thing to this is that we would have quite a few chargers around the country. Like Nisha said, 22, maybe even 30 fast chargers around the country. So the Sri Lankan roads will have a very good network of EV charging, fast charging, that we will run off our own software. So anybody who wants to book a charger can charge a car, say in Anuradhapura or in Yala or somewhere like that, if they are going down south or up north. And that will be a big part of our EV charge revenue as well.
Right. Thank you, William. The next question is there any remaining proceeds from the IPO? I will answer the first part and then Krishna can answer the second part of that. So the first thing is we have done all our projects that we committed in the IPO. Just for everyone, just to remind, we did the state-of-the-art R&D center, which has yielded a huge amount of savings in developing a binder, developing an alkyd resin, in developing value engineered products into this market. And I would say that overall, we have saved about a 10% GP from the R&D center. The second project was manufacturing in Bangladesh. So not only did we do that project with the funds, we also further went and did the alkyd resin plant, which again has helped us to survive this situation in Bangladesh and to maximize our stronghold and foothold in Bangladesh through this manufacturing plant, and also solidify our position as the industrial wood coating leader in Bangladesh. The third one was the marketing expenditure that we want to expend for White by JAT and our emulsion range, which actually it has surpassed a lot of the budgets that we thought in 3 years, right? Taking a turnover of over 1 billion in it and getting a market share of about 10% and 15% in the white market and 10% or 8% overall and about 15% in the white market. So that project is also done. And the fourth project was having a processing plant in Africa, which we did. That was the final project, which we did and completed. And this would take about 2 years more to yield the proper benefits from it. But we are very positive that that's the correct place to be and one of the most emerging markets. Risna, would you tell about the remaining of the IPO proceeds?
Yes, we have around 500 million remaining from the IPO proceeds. While we have kind of achieved all the IPO promises, so this 500 million we will use for further expansion into new projects and development of the company.
Right. Thanks, Rizna. The next one is any new projects that currently JAT is involved in, any upcoming projects? So at the moment, we are trying, while we are expanding and we are trying to actually capitalize on the projects that we did, it is more of market expansion projects. So Vietnam is one market which we are looking at expanding. Then around Vietnam, the Southeast Asian region, around Africa, the African region, and also Australia, right? I think previously I said that we send our first shipment to Australia. So some of the new projects would be in terms of market expansions and investments in those, which we are yet not, which we have to take it, say, depending on the situation. So these are some of the main ones that we are doing. What is the cost for UV paint? Elian, could you, I think that we could say from the PU, how much it is more than the PU or something to that effect, Elian?
Yeah, correct. So firstly, UV paint, we need to make sure that everybody knows what we're talking about. It's a lacquer that is applied with a machine or by spray, which cures under the UV light. It's an artificial UV light that is formed on a line, and it cures immediately. So the beauty of this product is that you can start a panel on this side of the line, and on the other side, 2 minutes later, you have a completely cured finish, which is abrasion resistant, scratch resistant, doesn't have any defects with the finish. So if you are doing very high gloss, if you're doing some high production, this is the ideal way to go. The UV will cost the customer, or to us, the production costs about 30% more than a PU coating. But because we're using a lot less grammage, the cost per meter squared remains the same to a customer. So, I mean, today we are selling UV at about €5 per liter in the market, and our cost is about 20%, 25% less than that.
Right. Thanks, Ajay. What has driven your GP forecast guidance for 4Q25E to 35 to 40 reported in the third quarter? So I think I explained that the binder plant, alkyd resin plant, and the direct distribution, which has resulted in the 40% increase, plus there is certain efficiencies or cost value engineered solutions from the R&D division as well. The next question is, can you explain about the Vietnam operations a bit? Is that selling acrylic binders or wood coatings, as well as please explain about the UV coating? So I think UV coatings was explained. So Vietnam, we are looking at, I think Vietnam is the largest exporter of furniture in the world, right? So this is naturally a market that JAT would be interested in. It is quite a developed market and a matured market, but there is a greenfield, or there is a gap where we have identified in water-based wood coatings. So water-based wood coatings, as you know, we are, I would say, one of the company that has converted a market to about 80% water-based in the world. I think maybe the only company, right? So this is the expertise that we are taking into Vietnam, into introducing water-based wood coatings along with our binders. We intend to manufacture from here and export it there. And also, while doing that, there would be opportunity for PU and UV coatings as well, and specialized coatings in this Vietnam market, right? So that is, in a nutshell, that is what we plan on doing. Yeah, next question is, hi, can you give a quick summary on the paint and brush operations, and are there any room for expansion in this segment? So we manufacture both paint, emulsion paint, brushes and rollers in-house under the Harris and Brushmaster brand, and under our own brand for the emulsion, White by JAT and Walls. Our present capacity is, I would say, we are utilizing about 80% capacity on a single shift. So if we want to increase capacity, it's just that we need to increase the shift. So there is room for expansion in that without increasing the square foot of our factory. Right? How much company? Yeah. Okay. The next question is, how much has the company incurred on developing the EV charging batteries? Right. So I think overall, from a R&D perspective, we have spent about
that we don't do batteries.
Yes.
Don't do
Sorry, EV chargers.
Battery. We only manufacture the charging unit.
Yes, the EV charging unit, not the battery. And I think we have spent about 400 million, 100 million of which is for capital equipment for testing of this, and about 300 million for a state of our own software, which we have developed for this, which will have a total ecosystem in the EV charging industry. And the rest of that 300 million is for the product design, the IP, and all of that. Yeah. What is Colors by JAT? Explain a bit. Colors by JAT is our paint, the colored paint for what we are doing from the tinting machines, why is Bangladesh company doing business in terms of two currencies, USD and Taka?
Can I
Yeah.
quickly just touch? When you say colors by, so decorative and wood coatings are two different things. Maybe we need the slight emphasis on this. Decorative means what we use for the wall coatings. So we used to only sell the white by JAT. That's only white wall coatings, interior and exterior. Now we have all the colors, like Nishal said, over 2,500 colors. Anybody for projects or for household can come and order any color. That's what colors by JAT is.
Yes. So why is the Bangladesh company doing business in terms of two currencies, USD and Taka? No, it's not that the Bangladesh company is doing in two currencies. ACL, like I showed you in the initial one, we have JAT Exports DMCC and ACL, right? ACL does business only in Taka, where we manufacture and we sell products within Bangladesh. Why you see in Bangladesh a USD income is through the Dubai company, JAT Exports DMCC. We import some of the products that we do not manufacture. We import it from Italy and we supply to some of our largest customers. So that revenue is recognized in US dollars for the Bangladesh market. And ACL, the Bangladesh company, recognizes their revenue in Taka.
So the benefit by that is that the US dollar revenue that is earned in Dubai is completely tax-free as well, because it's on-the-pro trade that we do from there.
Correct. In the paint segment operations, does JAT have export operations? I think you're referring to the decorative paint. So decorative paint, we send a bit to Maldives. Now in Cambodia, in the JAT Tech showroom, we have decorative paints. So these are the two main markets where we sell decorative paints or we export decorative paints, but not in a major quantity yet. Yeah. Local revenue has increased by 13% year on year and 27% QOQ is from previous quarter. Can you give us a rough idea of the wood coating segment volumes and price movements during the past year? Wood coating is the key local revenue contributor, more than 60%, along with paints and brushes and furnishing. Okay. So wood coating, the prices have not changed. From the previous year to this year, there has been no price increase. So what you see as the growth from value is the same that you see from the growth from a volume point of view, right? The only thing that has changed is maybe the percentage of Sayalak to Masters to JChem, that must have changed a little bit. But other than that, if you take from the brand wise, there has been no price increase for either of the brands. How do you assess your current level of volumes compared to pre-crisis levels? Do you expect new and restarting condominium projects to have an improved demand on your paints and furnishing segment? Okay. From pre-crisis level, the volumes we are at about 80% of the pre-crisis level, maybe about 75 to 80% of the pre-crisis level. That is in our paint industry. It's very difficult to assess in projects how much we are, but in paint, in wood coatings, we are at that level. Then do you expect new and yes, with restarting of condominium projects, definitely there would be demand for decorative paints, for wood coatings, and as well as the furnishing segment as well. And as you see, even now, right, you see a huge leap or jump in the project sector income. Yeah, group level GP margin has improved from 31.5% to 39.8% in the last quarter. Do you attribute entirely of the improvement to the in-house binder plant production? Can we expect this as the new normal level of GP margin? Yes, I would say 90% of this is due to the binder, and also
the exchange rate, no?
Yes, that's what I said. About 10% coming from the exchange rate reduction. So I would say 90% of this is coming from that. But you can expect the same sort of GP because we are heading into the season. Actually, the GP would increase further in this season. And in the next year, I would say it would normalize into these figures. The next question, what has driven the distribution expenses higher during the quarter? So sales and distribution is also, it also consists of advertising and promotion. So because the season is Q3 and Q4, you would see an increase in sales, in advertising and promotions during this quarter compared to Q2. And also the sales commissions or incentives is also in this. And since you see an increase in the quarter, you see in the sales, you see that that expense also increasing there. And also the distribution cost. The more that we distribute or the more that we sell, the distribution goes up in that. Previous quarter, you have mentioned about focusing on Asia Pacific. What is the development of this? Okay, I think we didn't say focus. When we said focus, I think Asia Pacific, what you mean is Australia and maybe Vietnam. So what we said was that we have sent our first orders there. And like I mentioned previously, we are going into Vietnam, we are going into Australia, and these are the markets that we are looking to in the next 3 to 4 years. Yeah. What are the taxes the company is currently facing? Rizna, over to you.
We generally have our sales related taxes, and in terms of the income tax, we are at the 30% band for all the local companies, 0 tax in our Dubai company, and 25% at the Bangladesh plant.
And also, Rizna, in this year or two, we have a tax
That is because of the deferred tax, there is a book entry reversal.
Deferred tax, and also Rizna, from that from the capital margin also we are recovering some, right? There's no tax.
Yeah, income tax, of course, you have on the computation, you have a carry forward loss that's basically depending on the country composition of the profits.
Yes, right. Margin per one charger selling prices. I think you're asking about the electric vehicle charger. So there is one charger at 7 kilowatt, which we are selling at about 200,000, right? And again, with a margin of about 25%. Then we have another charger, 22 kilowatt charger, which, Elian, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was at about 380, 400,000. And then we have the 30 kilowatt or 60 kilowatt fast charger, 60 kilowatt fast charger, which goes at about 3.5 million.
That's right.
There. So that also has a GP of about 25%. These are the 3 main chargers which we are doing at the moment. Will you be able to earn sufficient profit from that operation? Yes, I think we can ride the wave, right? Because when is the question, right? Whether it would
now
be
that car imports have opened,
yes,
open greater demand.
Correct. So it's actually when the real sort of surge for electric vehicles would come. I think it's a more of a futuristic investment that we wanted to get into, right? We are looking at certain markets in Pakistan, in India, and in also certain other countries for the electric vehicle chargers as well. But these are negotiations or discussions that we are having. Rizna, this is over to you. What do you expect to do with the 500 million rupees of the remaining IPO? I am also asking that question from Rizna.
Well, we have delivered all the IPO promises. So the balance 500 million, we will look at a few other new projects, either purchasing of a new brand or maybe some merger or acquisition on a related or unrelated business. So that is yet to be decided and board approval to be obtained.
Yeah, so any merger or acquisition would be within our core competency, right? And which we are looking at in the next year or year and a half to look at any acquisitions of a related business in different market segments, right? Or overseas markets is something that we are looking at. What is your strategy on decorative paints? Any plans for expansion? Okay, so the decorative paints, we want to be the premium product, the best quality product, right? And to fight in that segment, in the white segment. So we do not have any intention of sort of introducing a variety of paints and giving massive discounts and undercutting the market, right? And doing it like some of the other competitors are doing and having a lesser GP, we do not want to go into that game, right? So I think we have a very niche market for White by JAT and also for the walls product, and we have a healthy margin. So we would like to maintain that, and we would like to position ourselves as the best quality, value for money, brilliant white paint in the market, and move from that, and also focus on specialized products. Like I said, waterproofing, there's a huge void in the country, right? If you look at all the walls and most of the houses and all of that, you would see a lot of seepages and a lot of issues from waterproofing. So wherever there's a void, we would like to sort of focus on that. I think any tax concessions company receiving, we answered. What are the trade taxes the company is facing as well? I think we have answered. So, yeah.
Trade taxes are just VAT and SSCL, right? Those are the only trade.
Yeah, those are the trade taxes. Sorry. Trade taxes, yes, sorry. Trade taxes, yes, VAT and SSCL are the two trade taxes. Right. Thank you very much for the question. So if there's anyone who wants to verbally or rather ask live any questions, please feel free to
Raise your hand.
Yeah. No, so I think, Shalinda, we don't have any questions, right? I think everyone had asked, or we have one.
The mobile number is requested. Shalinda, can you type Nisha's mobile number? Or Nisha, is your mobile number okay? Or?
Yeah, that's right. That's okay. Shalinda, you can put my mobile.
Sure.
Right. Shalinda, we don't have any questions, right?
No, Nisha.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. I know there were some other events as well, and some other presentations, investor presentations clashing with ours. So thank you very much for taking your time and for believing in JAT, for believing in our story. And we hope that you would believe in us in the future as well. Thank you very much. Thanks, Elian. Thanks, Rizna.
Thank you, Nishan and Rizna. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate your support to the company and your continuous involvement in these presentations as well. Please feel free to call us anytime. Drop in at JAT Holdings and see us firsthand to understand what we do even better. Thank you very much. Bye then.